Hello everyone, this is Susan Fox Bowen with Song Sparrow Paper Crafts. I wanted to give you a little inside look on what I like to call these sneak peek cards that they're just a simple Z fun fold, but they give you a little peek of a scene through on both of the panels that show forward. And I wanted to show you how we make these. It's really pretty simple and straightforward, especially whenever you have some really gorgeous designer series paper like we do here. This is the One Horse Open Sleigh, which is an online exclusive that's currently available. You can only purchase it online. It is not in the paper catalog of any kind, just through the online store. So we're using a beautiful sheet here, and we're actually going to use almost the entire thing in order to make this card. So you can see it'll open up and give us a little sentiment panel on the inside and show you more of that house that we can see as we're coming around the corner here. So let's get started on making this card. Put that to the side here for a minute. So I already have a little piece of early espresso that is 5.5 by 8.5. It's the other half, honestly. It is the other half of this sheet that I used to make our demo card. So it's already pre-cut, but it is not scored. So we're scoring this card. It'll be a standard size on the inside, the 4 1/4 by 5.5. So we'll need to score at the 4 1/4 mark to give us our inside of the card. And then that little Z panel on the front is essentially, we're scoring this in half. So it'll be at 2 1/8 here. Make sure that's straight. My eyeball says that it's crooked. All right, that's straight. So now we will fold this in the appropriate places. So there's our folded in the middle to give us our 4 1/4. And we're folding this backwards, right? So that it'll be here at our 2 1/8 mark. So there we go. Now we have our card base. I'm gonna set this aside for a moment. Now we are going to take our very beautiful piece of 6x6 designer paper from the One Horse Open Sleigh pack, and this is actually super simple. If we take a look here, we want to make sure anytime we're making a card like this that we're not going to lose an important part of our design at all whenever we cut it. So we need a 2 inch by 5 3/8 inch strip. So just taking a look at the 2 inches, it makes more sense to have this tree be our front panel, and then we're gonna get just a peek of our house here. So if you remember from our sample here, we've got our trees, and then we can kind of see the house peeking out. Think of it like you're driving down a road coming around a corner. So we're gonna make this cut at 2 inches, which is gonna give us this 4-inch bit here that's gonna be on the inside. I'm gonna put this over to the side just for a minute. So this is a 6x6 sheet of paper, so we're gonna have to cut it down just a smidge, and the decision is that we have to make is, do we want to lose a little bit off the top, or do we want to lose a little off the bottom? And I wanted to, when I made my sample card here, I wanted to see all of this beautiful tree. So my decision was I'm going to lose a little off the bottom, but that decision is yours, and that's something you have to think out whenever you're deciding where to make your cuts. So I know that I want my little piece to be 5 3/8 inches. I am not gonna mess this up this time. I was making a video earlier and I cut it wrong, and then I had to try to figure out, am I gonna be able to save this to make this video? And I decided no, and I put it aside, and we're starting we're starting a different video. So just a touch off the bottom so we can see most of the snow here, but we get the whole tree and all the lights. We're gonna do the same on our 4-inch piece here. Cut that little bit off the bottom so that we get this entire scene here. Now from here, I'm not sure how well this is going to pick up in this video. I will do my best. I got some new lighting, guys, so I feel like it's maybe a little better. I applied some Wink of Stella to the string of lights in the trees and along the house, and also anywhere the light shone in the windows or on the snow, to give you that feeling of the twinkling lights, either as you're driving by, the lights in the trees and the lights in the window, or do you know how you're walking in the snow and the light catches it and it twinkles? Glistens. So I wanted to give that effect here. So what I did, took my 2 pieces here with my Wink of Stella, and I just went through and everywhere there was a little light, I just put a little dab here. And then I also very carefully just kind of colored in. I didn't do the halos around the windows. I wanted it just to be on the inside of the window itself because I felt like that made more sense. I don't know if you're familiar with a Wink of Stella pin here, but it's got like a glittery, I don't want to call it ink. It's almost like watercolor, sort of. Just a glittery substance in there. And as you need more, you just kind of give it a little squeeze on the side, which is what you were seeing me do there. Give it just a little more. So I'm just kind of, and now down here I just did little tiny circles. All right, set that one to the side. And then I'm just doing all the little lights here on this piece. And I kind of turned it to the side to give my Wink of Stella marker end here, I'll call it a brush end, a little advantage to getting to these spots. And I did not, you notice I'm only doing the little lights here. I'm not doing any of the glowing because, again, I felt like that made more sense, was just to highlight the light. So what you should see is just a little sparkle, little sparkles here. All right. Give that just a moment here. And then what we're going to do is, it doesn't take it very long to dry. That is the beauty of Winkostella. So we're just going to put this one panel down first. I'll show you why in just a moment. So I've got just a tiny border all the way around. So I want to leave that showing. All right, before I glue this down, you might have noticed on the sample card, so the inside of the card, as you know, is 4 1/4 inches, and this strip is only going to be 4 inches because our paper was 6 by 6, and we cut a 2-inch strip here. So I used a piece of ribbon that's currently in the catalog. It is Misty Moonlight, just to kind of fill in that little spot. So before I stick this down, it's a lot easier for me to measure my piece of Misty Moonlight using this sheet of paper. Or that's the way I do it anyway. And I know it's kind of a cheater method. I'm gonna leave just a little bit because I saw I had a fray on that end and I want to be able to cut that fray off. There we go. So now I can set my spool aside. I don't have to mess with my spool. All right. So now I can, my assistant's hair has gotten into things. For those of you maybe who are a little new here, my assistant is my sweet little orange cat, Leo, who is currently passed out on his bed over here in the floor, as he usually is anytime I'm in the craft room. He loves to be in here when I am in here, but he also likes to deposit his hair sometimes. All right, so again, I want a pretty even border all the way around there. And I am going to use a little tear tape to put this on here. Now, personally, I use, you can see the brand name, Sukwang is what it's called. I like it because it comes in, as you can see, a very narrow width. This is the 1/8 inch, but it also comes in a quarter, it comes in a half, it comes in an entire sheet. But it is the only difference between what is available in the catalog and this Sukwang, honestly, is just the Sukwang allows me the opportunity to get more than one width. And for me, I like that the opportunity to not have to get my scissors sticky to make it the size that I need it. So there you go. Everybody kind of has, you develop your own preferences as you go along, and you know, maybe you'll find that you like it, or maybe you'll find that you don't mind cutting down what's in the catalog. Totally up to you. And I managed to get that a little long because I didn't have to cut off that end I was expecting to, so I have to do a tiny little surgery here to get it just right. There we go. Pardon my reach across the screen there. So here so now we've filled in that gap there with just that little touch of Misty Moonlight ribbon, and we're going to carry that Misty Moonlight through our card design with our sentiment panel. Now, one thing that I wanted to just give you a little life hack here. I keep a stack of just plain white typing paper that I have cut into fourths that I can very quickly cut down and use inside my cards. I don't use cardstock whenever I'm applying a sentiment panel inside the card because I don't like the weight. That's, again, a personal preference. You can do as you wish. Like in a card like this, I definitely need a strip because it's so dark on the inside. So I'm going to use paper. So just a little life hack. I keep a whole stack of quartered sheets of typing paper. And now I'm going to cut it down a little further, obviously. So we need a 2" by 5 3/8 inch piece here. And now we're going to put our sentiment on it. Now, you could choose any sentiment that you wish. I'm super excited about the holiday mini catalog that is launching next week. And this is one of the stamp sets that will be available in that catalog and available for purchase. It's called Magical Meadow. And we're going to be using the Winter Wishes sentiment in this particular card. You could pull any stamp set that you had, obviously, and substitute. What I liked about the Winter Wishes was it's just the right width here to fit on our little panel. You know, sometimes that's a challenging part. I had picked another sentiment, and then I'm like, oh, wait, that's not going to work because my card is 5.5 inches tall. I'm not doing a landscape card, so the sentiment that I had originally chosen because I liked how it paired with the scene wasn't going to work. So in this case, we are using the Winter Wishes sentiment, and I'm going to repeat the Misty Moonlight here just to kind of tie it all together. I'm leaving enough space that there'll be room to write a little personal note to someone. Underneath here. Yeah, I'm still working on my camera skills here. Can't say that I'm all that great at it just yet. Getting this all coordinated. All right. So, just very simply, you can kind of, see our sparkle here. And I just kicked it up another little notch with just a few little embellishments. These are the Neutrals adhesive backed sequins that are in the annual catalog. And I just popped a few of the brown ones here. And I'll tell you, I went back and forth on the original design about where I was going to put that third one because I typically do things in thirds. I don't know. I learned the rule of thirds whenever I was first getting started on design. And so it bothers me to have an even number of, you know, little embellishments on a card. And I piddled around with putting them all on the front, having my rule of 3 be on the front of the card, and I just couldn't make it work. And I'm like, well, you know, my half, if I were talking about the real front of the card, would be the left. So there you go. And there we have it. There is our finished design, our little Z-folds, peek through, as I like to call them. Gives you the full scene there. Easy peasy. Thanks for joining me.